Do you think sort of like changing room culture at that time, and I guess even still now, I think male changing room culture can sometimes play a part. Do you feel it did for you?
Yes, definitely. Again, it's not and I do think it still exists today. I think
Yeah, 100%.
and I talk as loudly and as passionately about this as I can because I think top flight sports still has some major issues to address, and we're very fast to want to tell everyone we're doing a great job with it, and I think there are people doing some wonderful work, but I think we have a long way to go. The rise of mental health and addiction issues within top flight sport across the world are exponentially rising. It's not slowing down. And
Mm.
there's lots of factors that come into that. But at
Yep.
some point, we have to recognize that something's not working. Yeah, and I think for me, the culture of cricket, probably much like when you stepped into it, there is an ego, a testosterone driven mentality to survive, and it's not just survive with the opposition, it's to survive within your own squad, with your own, that own dynamic where, people are kind of clashing and in different kind of ways. And yeah, I mean, showing weakness or vulnerability in that way is just, it was just not, I wouldn't do it. There was no
Mm.
way I was prepared to do that. And I worried for guys today where, I go into dressing rooms after play, and sometimes, I just see all the players looking at their phones, and I worry about that. I just think, if there's someone in that dressing room who's starting to act out in a way that I used to act out, they're trying to search for their answer in Instagram, and it's not a good mix, that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Netflix documentary Social Dilemma. It highlights that on a societal level. Um, I do think that I do feel that sport exacerbates it massively because there's an inner sanctum, and I think cricket, rugby, football, your team sports, where you're not an individual, you are around a team. It's so interesting that the amount of people that I've interacted with and I've spoken to that may come to me with the stuff that I'm teaching now and ask for tools and strategies and how to look after whether it's their body or their mind, they'll come and ask me that in private. But then you go into a changing room and someone will say something or they'll act differently. And it is purely ego driven. I'm not willing to sit here and drop my ego for the group and kind of stand up for what I really deep down believe is right. It's like the whole room is battling this inner battle, but collectively no one wants to admit it. And
Yeah.
that for me is the thing that I actually believe would make great teams. I actually believe it would make the teams far better. It would make them communicate better. It would make them understand each other better. And I think performance would change. I truly do, because there's no kidding yourself. It's almost like you're not hiding from anything. So I don't know what you feel could be done more right now with like what you're saying. You're seeing these guys going along. Is there anything you feel that should be done above this higher level banner of just talking about it? Because I know that I feel there should be strategies and tools given to them the same way they look after their bodies in the gym. There should be
Mm.
ways of being able to manage this stuff in your own time and know how to do it, especially from a young age. Especially from a young
Yeah.
age.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with everything you say, and I think the biggest sorry, I'll sort of jump back to that in a minute. I think that the starting place for me with everything, I'll just talk about cricket, but it applies to, other team sports,
Mm.
is right at the top with the England team, because, you will have seen it in your time. The England players are away playing for England. When they come back and play for their counties, everyone just wants to do what they do,
Yep.
and they are a huge influence. So if they go out heavy drinking, everyone goes out heavy drinking. If they do something, they start betting on the horses, everyone starts betting on the horses. They're the idols of the game. And
Mm.
so you need to start right at the top and then let it filter down. I think it's a mistake, not a mistake, sorry, but where they say, well, let's educate at the academy level and then there'll be the next generation and come through. And I get that, but I think that by the time they get through might be 10 years, and what happened in those 10 years culturally might be very deep, so that when that academy player steps into the system, he or she's up against a cultural thing that is, it throws out everything that they've learned, prior. So I think you need to start at the top. I think the biggest thing I would always want is for teams, people who are running professional teams, to not just judge players on how they're doing on the field. And I know it sounds really obvious, but that is what happens. I could list examples where guys, and I was one of them, who was playing all right on the field, but off the field I was falling apart. But because I was playing all right, it was kind of like, well, there's nothing, it's okay, and that cultural thing of, well, he's in the bookies, or he's just gambling a lot on his phone, but he's playing brilliantly. Maybe he needs that escape. He enjoys it. He loves the GGs. Then we all have a laugh about it. Give us a few tips. That stuff goes on, and no one in the team. I'm not talking about the PCA or union. I'm talking about the team, coach, director of cricket goes, is this kid all right? Because maybe we just need to sit down and say, you're right. Or, even, and it's not often talked about, but, a guy who's sleeping with every woman he can meet, rather than it being celebrated and kind of held up as, hey, what a lad type thing, someone go, actually, is he all right? Because really, he might actually just be developing a really dysfunctional relationship with women, and that is, and he gets lost in it. And I think the emphasis isn't just always about what's going on the field. And of course, we play to win, no question. And that's the most important thing. But I just feel like culturally, there needs to be, at the team level, there needs to be more of a conscious approach to saying, where are each of our guys at with their lives? And if there is any, and there has to be an educational piece for those coaches and directors of cricket and assistant coaches. And then say, okay, if there's something that we're not sure about, then we need the right people who understand this kind of thing, maybe to have a space with them in which they can kind of talk and see where they're